Hello and welcome to another episode of Creators, a series where we talk with authors, speakers, poets, artists. Inspiration is all around us. I am Pravin Shekar, an outlier marketer and raconteur. This series, Creators, is brought to you by Can Do, a social entity skilling and employing people with disabilities. Talk to them for relationship mapping, competitor tracking, and connecting with the right decision makers. This series is supported by Notion Press, one of the fastest growing publishing platforms in the world. If you've got a story to tell, they'll help bring it out. Our guest today is somebody I have been following for the last couple of years, Sharat Sharma. I have been his colleague at the Professional Speakers Summit. I've been a student in one of his training programs, the Video Mastery programs. Sharat is the author of the best-selling book, The One Invisible Code. He believes that, yeah, there you are. He believes people and profits are the two pillars of every business, and he strengthens these pillars by offering customized learning, coaching, training, and mentoring services from startups to large corporations, always seeking to better his students from where they are to where they can and ought to be. So welcome, Sharat.
Hey, thank you so much, Praveen. Super excited to be here. Looking forward to a great conversation with you. Firstly, thank you so much for inviting me. I'm looking forward to this conversation.
Lovely. Let's start off with a slow, low full toss on the left side. How did this book come about?
All right. So long story. If I start off, then it's never going to end. So let me kind of shrink it and share how did it happen. So I think in the year, So in the year 2016, I attended a workshop, where somebody said, since you're in the space of training speaking, why don't you write a book? And there was a master class which was done by one of the guy from US, and he said, you can write a book and write a book and become a millionaire. That title appealed me quite a bit. Right? So I just walked in 3 days of rigorous work, and then he said, you should write a book. There were thoughts. I used to scribble every day, Praveen. Even today I write every day. Some stuff I put it on Facebook and LinkedIn, but a lot of things, if you see, there are loads of books that are here right next to me, right? I keep scribbling my thoughts and all. So I used to write, and a lot of people used to tell me that you should publish a book, but that workshop kind of gave me a trigger. And then I initiated the process of writing. But, I think all of us go through the stage of confusion before you arrive at clarity. That was the stage I was in 2016. Right, I would write, but I do not know what would be the title, what would be the real outcome of the book. I was doing work in leadership a lot at that time, so I was inclined towards writing leadership, something around leadership. So interestingly, my book was on leadership. Okay, so that book is not yet published. So I wrote that book first, but I felt there has to be a story behind that story, right? So if you have read the book, this is a story about a person who's left job, he's lost all his hopes on all his dreams and all, and then he meets his master, right? And the second book is about this person who got inspired by his master training two more people.
All right.
Right, so and an entrepreneur and a leader, right? And half of that book, most of that book is also written. But I thought, there has to be a book before this. And that's how
Lovely.
I started writing The One Invisible Code. So a lot of it was not really organized, but there was a lot of content that was there with me. When I had this thought, so I put together all my thoughts. And then I said, how can I make it very interesting? So the content was ready in two years' time, right? 2016 to 2018, the content was pretty much there. However, I wanted to make it different. I never wanted to write that typical theory, like we say, gyan and all. I never wanted to write that. So I said, how can I storify it? And then, my own experiences, some of the experiences, like in the book, I write about, how this person loses a job and, he goes into the zone of frustration. All his aspirations turns into anger, right? That was me in the year 2013. So I created that character, and then some bit of the master and all that is fiction. And that's how I started writing the book. And
You've got to wait for me to ask those questions. I'm coming to that question right here. I'm coming to that, and I completely relate to what you're telling in terms of writing a book, but then writing several other books and bringing the old book back. My first book that I wrote in 2014, 73.5 Ways for Effective Networking, is hopefully going to see the light of day this year. But when I picked up the book, Sharat, I've known you as a sales coach, a sales trainer, a sales leader, and I picked it up just because I knew Sharat Sharma.
Right.
But when I read through the first chapter, hey, where's sales? Where's sales? And then eventually it dawned on me that it's a lot more about motivation and leadership here. Why so?
So, today, I think the foundation of everything that we do today, Praveen, is the mindset, right? Even before we do the leadership work or the sales work, the foundation is mindset, right? So, that's what I was thinking. In fact, if I continue this book, I can add leadership to it, I can add marketing to it, I can add sales to it. So the version 2 of this book is going to be leadership and sales, right? But this is the core of everything, right? Any area that we want to master, we want to have the right mindset and right inspiration and motivation in place. So that was my thought process. And like I said, right, the second book was ready, but I wanted to write the first one.
Beautiful. I love the way you're sequencing it, connecting the dots, which means all those who picked it up and have the mindset foundation are, all of us, myself included, waiting for the next book of yours to come out, Sharat. Now,
Yes.
the question is, you've used a beautiful fable approach where I could relate to joy in terms of the various stages, not the full journey, but there are always instances.
Yeah.
What prompted you to write that in a fable manner? Where did the master come from? Is that um, parts of joy are you, Sharat, but what about the master? Various masters, you brought them together, and why a fable?
Yeah. So I think part of joy is in all of us, right? And I chose the name joy because that's what we are seeking most of the time, right? Even the name, I thought of it because we all connect with joy, right? So that's how it was. Masters, like you rightly said, different masters at different point in time, and they taught me different lessons. So I kind of put all of that together, and presented as a formula, right, as an invisible code. Um why story or why the fable? I think we all love stories. We all love stories. I mean, as a kid, I used to love stories. As an adult, I love stories. I know, I ask any 70, 80, 90-year old, our elders, they would say we love stories. So I think stories is the best way to convey anything to anyone. My next book is going to be story. After that, any book that I write is going to be a story format. I think we all love stories. So it's amazing. And I think,
Now,
Praveen, you also connected with it, right?
yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
I think stories, we
Absolutely.
connect with them. Yeah.
Yes. So one aspect that stayed with me in the book is the apples to apple comparison. So there are lots of nuggets, but I'm only going to talk about the two or three that hit me hard. That, hey, I am comparing my failure with somebody's success. Should I not be comparing my success with the other person's success? What are your thoughts? How did that come into the book? Beautiful writing.
Yeah. Thank you, Praveen. So there are so many bits, right? I mean, somewhere I think we lose out on living the life of mastery and we head towards disaster is because we get into the comparison zone. And comparison between what? I mean, even if we go a little on the spiritual side, God never created two individual or no two fingerprints are the same, right? Even if we have twins or four people, five people, whatever they call them as, right? But no fingerprints are the same. So there's no way that we can compare. And the more we compare, we actually get into the zone of mediocrity. And in the book, I talk about mediocrity and mastery, that how we shrink ourselves and never live up to our potential. I think that's the saddest thing that we do right from the, I mean, we go through it unknowingly, knowingly, we go through it. The comparison begins right from the school time, and then we just don't compare apples with apples. We always think grass is greener on the other side, but grass is greener where we water it. Simple.
Yeah. But it's in our culture, Sharad. We can never stop ourselves from comparing. We shouldn't compare, you're right. But hey, your book is thicker and bigger than my book. Well, jokes apart, jokes apart. There's another two things that I loved about is it's peppered with punchlines. It's peppered with those small boxes that you have
Right.
put in, which are one line, two line summaries. And I'm a big Rajni fan, and here down south, there's a lot of Rajni punchlines going in, and you have interspersed your punchlines with several others. But the question I'm heading to is another example that the master attributes to, and you write in your book, that people are so enthusiastic and going through in the wrong direction.
Yeah.
I would love your thoughts on that point.
Yeah. So, uh, okay, so let me, so no offense to anyone, right? Before I say anything, no offense to the personal development industry or anyone who seeks motivation and all that. I think in the modern era, the shiny object syndrome and the motivation and the quick fixes that we are after, I think that kind of kills. I mean, let me put it this way: it kind of actually misleads us. It kind of misleads it into very, very many different directions, right? And having an enthusiasm is one thing, and having an enthusiasm in a directed way is a different game altogether, right? We must have all the energy, excitement in life, but if you're using that energy and excitement in the wrong way, kind of misleads us. And today, with the amount of motivation that we are bombarded with, I think we get carried away very easily, right? So my thoughts, we should have motivation just to get started, but it is your aspiration that keeps you moving. It is that vision for yourself that keeps you moving. And it need not, see, I mean, let's look at this, right? I mean, Virat Kohli has a different aspiration than Sachin
Yeah,
Tendulkar, right? Both of them don't chase the same thing, right? Similarly, Mother Teresa serving the humanity was her aspiration, and she was doing her own best, right? But if we get carried away, we are not going to live our potential. We are not going to be that master ever. We are just going to be
right.
disaster. And also, one little thought just to conclude this, there's a huge difference between goals and aspirations. Aspirations are within, right? Goals are something that it's for achievement, right? Again, achievement, fulfillment, two different things altogether, right? You can chase goals, but you will be unhappy. Not a great
Yeah.
part to be on. Yeah. Those
Lovely,
are few
lovely,
thoughts.
lovely. Now, I'm going to dwell a little bit back on your first couple of answers. I would love to dwell deep into your brain in terms of your writing process. You did say that you write every day, you got bits and pieces. How did that come about, and how do you string it all together, Sharath? I'm curious, as are our viewers and listeners.
Right. So, so like I said, I write a lot. I write almost every day. So, something that I did not do, which I'm doing now. I think this is a piece of advice for all of us. I never. I used to write from what 2013, 14 onwards. I used to write, but I never gathered my thoughts on a Word document. I never put it in a orderly way, right? I used to do it very randomly, and then when I look back and I say, Eric, how much content did you write? I wrote so much of it. In fact, once my wife was asking, "You write every day. Where is the content? You want me to go on Facebook and actually, copy paste all of them? Doesn't work that way." So I shifted my approach and started writing on my Word document first, and then pasting it on Facebook or anywhere. So I started gathering my thoughts. That's something that I did. Now let's come back to very focusedly on the book, right? So I used to write. I had the formula in my mind. 2017, I had the invisible code in my mind. I had the so if you see even in the book, I have a lot of stories that I write in addition to the story of Master and Joy, right? So I'm somebody who loves stories. I know even in my trainings, I use a lot of stories and all. So I had the repository of everything in one place. Now the second step was to organize it, right? Now organizing, because I did not do it initially, it was a little tough for me. But
Right.
then I put my thoughts together and saying, okay, chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, chapter 4, what would I do? So when I started actually putting the book together, I wrote the chapters first, right? Once I have the outline, once I have the skeleton ready, then I know where should I plug in what, right? And then I started plugging in all of the content that I had into in an organized way, right? uh, so that was something that was there for in the initial phases. By then I had not even contacted the publisher. But when I reached the publisher, Notion Press, right? When I spoke to the publisher, they said, dude, you are not you're nowhere. Right, you are going to really put things in. So I had this Word document named as 1 2 3 4 5 and all that, and I'm like, oh, I'm so organized. But then they said, it has to be in a different way. They helped me quite a bit in terms of organizing my content. Then it went into reviews, and then it went into reviews. By the way, I think we kind of omitted around some 20 pages because I think the content was a lot. So I was okay with the feedback that was coming in. I think that's something that we must learn in terms of when we're writing and when we're editing and everything goes on. We need to keep that ego aside, right? You really feel that, "Arey, kya yaar, why wrote the content? Why are they eliminating it and all?" But I think that kind of really helped me to put the book in a better shape. It's just about 190 pages, right, with all the exercises and all. But now people love it because it's not very thick, it's not very very thin. So that is how it was. But let me not tell you all of, so this was my process, but let me tell you how we should be writing it. After writing the first book, I think lot of lessons, Praveen, honestly, lot of lessons that I learned after writing the first book. 4 years is what I took to get it in shape and get it published.
Right.
2016 to 2020. That's when September 2020 is when we published, right? So good 4 years. But this is what I did. I think not great way to do it, but the right way to do it. I think if you're clear about publishing a book, even if you're unclear about the outline of the book, what are you going to cover in each chapter, but it's very important for us to organize the content that we write every day. And as marketers, as business owners, we got to write content, right? We need to put it in an organized way. You can name it, you can divide them into segments. Like if you're writing on marketing, on prospecting, put it in one uh, in an organized way, basically in one
Right.
section or a one folder, right? And then when you want to really when you're clear about this is going to be my book, these are the things that I'm going to cover, then you can add interesting bits into it, like
Mhm.
analogies or stories or statistics. You can plug all of those elements. And another very interesting thing that I learned, not, I wouldn't say exactly during the process, but when I sat back and actually thought about what did I do right, why is it that a lot of people are loving it, uh, I think something that worked is I use the approach of left brain and right brain. The book has logic, the book has emotion, right? So there are places where I'm giving a lot of exercises, and there are places where I'm telling them a lot of stories, right? So that kind of worked really well, and it also came
Right.
as feedback to me very a lot of with a lot of people, right? They said, everything that you put together is like a complete package.
Right.
Yeah.
Beautiful. That leads me to one more question on the book that you've reached out and got feedback and testimonials from a lot of luminaries around. How did that happen? What was your process in going through?
So Praveen, I asked for help. I think many of us forget that this four-letter word, HELP, it's just very simple, right? You got to ask. I mean, see, we love quotes and all that, right? But even in the quotes, it is said, until you ask, it's always a no, right? So I just asked. I created a list saying these are the people I would want to reach out to. I wrote a list of about 50 names. Yes, there were rejections. I had a process of asking the testimonials. I wrote an email to them. Didn't work. I sent a video to them. Then most of them responded. So I think number one lesson is ask for help, and help is all around you.
Beautiful, beautiful. That's
Yes.
the basics that we forget.
Yes. And the second thing is, I had that once the book was ready, I knew that I want to have, good testimonials and done very in a right way and all. So I put together a structure saying email one, email two, email three. This is how I will do it. I'll not be very pushy, right? I think we should respect the space of others. I think if they are unable to do it, they are unable to do it. And honestly, it was really kind of everyone except for one or two who couldn't actually. I did not hear from them, but I think everyone responded. Robin Sharma couldn't give the testimonial, but he wrote back. He's saying, I'm busy, I cannot review it, and I cannot write a testimonial unless I read the book. And he was writing his own book at that time, right? Same thing with Tony Robbins. Same. I think everyone responded. That was like the best thing. And I remember once, Praveen, I think I got up at 2:30 in the night, and I just picked up mobile and saw a mail from Brian Tracy,
All
and
right.
I didn't sleep a whole night. I was like, yay! Yes. So
Lovely, lovely.
I think these are fundamentals, Praveen. We kind of forget. We get too complexity is the enemy of execution.
Yeah, awesome. But Sharath, writing is just one of the ways in which you reach out to your target audience. I've seen you in videos, in audio, and a whole lot of things. So where does that creativity come from? Where does it? What spurs you on?
Okay, you're making me think. Okay, I don't know if I should say this, but there is a creative kida in me always. Right, I want to do something differently, and even the name, the one invisible code and all that. Right, so the creative kida was always there. I learned 3D animation, by the way, when I was
Oh, oh,
graduating. I'm a 3D animator. I didn't pursue it then because the market wasn't okay, and the pressure that comes in, go get a job and all. So kind of quit that, but that element is always there with me, so I use it in videos. I use it in some kind of audio files. Now I'm structuring it a little more. That's how it is. Yeah.
and what are the sources you go to? Whom do you follow? What podcasts? What do you do? What are your sources of inspiration?
So I think I don't limit it to one source, Praveen. Uh, I think that is again limiting ourselves. So when I'm on a walk, so my schedule is like this, right? When I'm working out, there's nothing around me, right? It's just me, right? I don't even listen to the music or anything. I'm just working out, right? But when I'm on walk, right, thrice in a week I do 10,000 steps, thrice or fourth, based on my schedule and all that. So that's when I'm listening to some of the podcasts like Brendan Bouchard, Brian Tracy's, right? There are a couple of, so every genre, I have some leaders that I follow, right? Leadership, if you ask me, John Maxwell is my mentor. I'm a certified John Maxwell trainer, speaker, coach, right? So I listen to him a lot, right? So that 10,000 steps is my walk with John Maxwell, or my walk along with one of these thought leaders. That's something, and I consume a lot of videos. Right, when I'm if I have some spare time, I go on YouTube, subscribe to some channels and all that. And interestingly, Praveen, I think I want to make this point here that not always popular channels give you insights. At times there are channels which are which might have just 1,000 subscribers. They give you amazing content. I mean, they give you such deep insights that you will be like, I want to pursue this more. Right, so that's something I do. So I consume videos, I consume podcasts, I read books. You can see some
Yeah.
of the books out there, right? 2020 I was more into my book, but 2021, again, 2 books a month, not more. Books a month is like enough. That's something that I always do.
Ah, lovely. Sharath, one question here related to micro marketing. Based on you or your clients or your experiences, do you have any episodes to share of an entrepreneur or a company executing micro marketing, which is a very small niche local marketing or a tactic? I'd love to hear from you there.
Yeah. So Praveen, I think with the modern technology, with modern, the virtual world that we are living in now, I think videos have become the go-to tool, or go-to tool to market. Simple. And I've been saying this from for 3-4 years now. But now with the 2020 lockdown and everything, I think video has become the thing. And I'll give you a classic case study. I'll give you two. One is my favorite. And this guy's testimonial is also there on my YouTube channel. He walked into my workshop, and one of the things that we do is teach them how to make a video pitch, right? And a short video pitch, not too much of a sales kind of a thing, not being too pushy, but educating the customer. And somewhere we got to really differentiate it. Sales is different, education is different, but the more we educate our customer, the more they feel comfortable, they feel safe around you. And very thin difference, right? They need to feel safe in your hands, in your presence, and they will do business with you, right? So we made him do the video, and we said, whatever sources or whatever places you can post this video, post it. And magic, he does it in the first half of the day. Second half of the day, he gets a call from somebody in Haridwar, right? The workshop is happening in Hyderabad. He gets a call from Haridwar, and he says, I can't speak to you, I'm in the training right now. I'll speak to you during the tea break. And he goes out, speaks to him, 12 lakhs order.
Wow.
Right? One video. And I said, तुम्हारा workshop का पैसा वसूल हो गया. Right? So very simple. And I said, continue to do it, and magic happens. For some, it takes time. For some, it's instant. But it's about how consistently do you post and educate your customer. That's one, my favorite case study. There's so many others. Like during the lockdown again, I said, okay, what can I do for the community of trainers, speakers, coaches? We did it for our PSCI community during that time. Then I did it for other trainers and all. So there was this girl, I remember, she was a little upset because her only source of income was trainings. And she's like, Sharat, I really want to get something from this video challenge. Video challenge is what I was running for them. Right? So she did it. And again, magic. She gets a contract to train a startup, around 200 people. She was asked to do some basic training programs. They listed down 5-6 topics, virtual mode, magic. Right?
Lovely.
So it works. So this guy, again, just to differentiate here, she's a trainer. She got an opportunity. The other guy was actually into LED bulbs manufacturing. Right, so it works, and somehow there is this mindset that we have that it will not work for my industry.
All right.
Right, I think it works everywhere. I've had somebody in the logistics industry do it, and it worked for him. I said, send your proposals in the video format. Right, I've had trainers who do it. I've had somebody who's in the pharma who has done it. It works for everyone. It's free.
Why did you let the secret out?
All you need is a mobile phone. That's it. And you have it. All of us have it, right? So it's free. You can do as many videos as you want.
Well, one thing which I have to underline is from the video workshop you conducted for the Professional Speakers Association, there was Neerja Singh who came out with her book. Yes. And I came out with my book called the Virtual Summit Playbook. So
yes,
it started off as a video and then took various forms.
Yes. Amazing. Yes.
Lovely, Sharat. So keep going, keep doing the good work. Lovely to have you with us at
Thank
Kreators.
You.
And for all the viewers and listeners, the book and all the Gyan is available at www.sharatsharma.com. That's SHARATSHARMA.com. for his books, courses, lessons, and to connect with Joy and his master. So Sharat, thank you once again.
Thank you so much, Praveen. Thank you so much for inviting.